Hey there, rock and rollers. You are watching Does It Bossa Nova. So today we're going to talk about the man with bossa in his name, TBASA. Let's find out. I love it when a plan comes together. It doesn't come together that often. Alright, so far so good. What the hell is the score? Are we gonna lose? You'll be sitting in Guantanamo, talking about Guantanamo. Say that place don't exist. Well, it does, and it's full. So you'll be sitting in Alcatraz. Yeah, so the world is a joke. Let's talk about TBASA's new album, Joke World. All right. So I listened to this a few times now, and the first time I listened to it, taking a walk to a local coffee shop, getting myself some Spro, wearing these here Fostex, what are they? T50RP planar magnetic headphones. Weird stuff. Pretty cool. And it just so turns out, you know, you can do some reading on, what's hip about planar magnetic headphones. But it just so turns out that, like, the thing that these kind of puppies really excel at, the first track on Joke World, called K Expectation or KEXP Expectation or Kexpectation. Hard to know how, it's, intended to be read, but, we're definitely talking about 90.3 here. Yeah, I mean, if this song was written in 1995, it would be called, KCMU Nication. But anyways, the thing that, this pair of cans here really excels at, opening track has all these like tingly percussive noises that sort of blanket your ears. And these sort of puppies like this, they give you like this sort of impact and realism and detail with sounds like that without giving you a bunch of harsh, exaggerated treble. So cool stuff. I recommend, get yourself a pair of these. Or something like them. They're a little lower output than the other cans in your collection. So, you don't need a dedicated headphone amp or any audiophile nonsense like that. But you might have to, blast your iPhone like almost all the way if you're at the gym or, on the bus or somewhere loud like that. But yeah, so I would say first track, hip stuff, because the thing I really like is I like anything discordant. Especially when you use something discordant to be pretty. I love that. I mean, like, I was just, playing some bossa nova noodling. And something that I love about bossa nova is that it's a beautiful music that contains all sorts of pretty discordant chords. And, like, the reason why, the Everly Brothers were such G's when it came to harmony is because their harmonies were pretty discordant. And you got like a smooth voice combined with an edgy voice. And there are all sorts of harmonizers who use that approach after them. So you got a real catchy melody. You got some kind of discordant chords going on. You got tinkly percussion candy going in both ears. And something that I find a lot in Tim's music is you get sort of a juxtaposition of different things. So you've got this kind of hi-fi ear candy kind of percussion going on in both ears, but then you have sort of a lo-fi overdriven acoustic guitar that's kind of, on the Neutral Milk Hotel, sort of a tip or something. And same thing. Like if you get like the next few songs, like Shadowland and stuff, you've got a song that is melodic and such, nice melody full of whoa, whoa, whoas, like Tim likes to do. But then you've got the drum machine that is kind of, you know, nudging it subtly into a dancey direction, So we've got the source of magic. So we've got our Sign of the Times song there, which also sounds kind of like Faith No More or something like that. It's got that real, late 80s, almost the 90s sort of a sound to it, Pee Wee's Christmas Special sort of thing, where the 80s were just drawing to a close. And, it's kind of like an anything goes time for music where you had like They Might Be Giants and like the Gypsy Kings and Tracy Chapman and Timbuk 3. Timbuk 3's old album that is surprisingly good. Also recommended listening. It's called like Greetings from Timbuk 3 or something. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and more, Tim knows his way around a hook like that, Something like one thing, one more. It's World War III and World War IV. Or I probably did that all wrong because I'm not playing it right now. But yeah, got some good stuff. There's a real cool song, Better Than Better. So I don't think I've ever made a song myself that does this, but I love when a song fades in to the refrain, like XTC's song, like The Love Thing or whatever. Like that's a good song. Or um, Badfinger on their self-titled album that like no one ever talks about or has listened to except me. There's like a song called Why Don't We Talk, where it's like an interesting take on that, where it's like you're going inside of a building, like maybe a place where the band's performing, or maybe a rehearsal space and stuff, and like you're stepping in, and then you hear, like as you're stepping into the room, opening the door, like, why don't we talk? Why don't we talk? Okay, like, okay, I'll have you listening to like all this stuff. Like, okay, what are you on about? Um, Hobby Rock, yeah, yeah, another great song, catchy, and yeah, I've been there. I'm due to make a record of Hobby Rock myself. Believe it or not, I've not put out a record since January 1st, 2023. And yeah, yeah, I've been there. I was like, a few feet away playing bass. So yeah. And then um ending track, Joke World, title track, is, I would say, it is as Sign of the Times as the Source of Magic is. So yeah, that could be right up there alongside, Starfish and Coffee and Ballad Dorothy Parker and what's that real banger? Strange Relationship. I love that song, Strange Relationship. Tim, you should cover Strange Relationship and the title track. And also make an album that sounds like Parade. I've been listening to Parade a lot lately. I would love to make an album like Parade. That's just, like all percussion, and then like everything else is mixed really quiet. And the song, and like a bunch of songs that are really short in a row at the beginning. I don't know. So yeah, very inspiring. You're the inspiration. And yeah, I gotta get back on it myself. I did February album writing month this year, where you write 14 songs in 28 days, and I accomplished it. But over spring break, I started working on, fleshed out, studio versions of the songs. And the thing is, I found myself, I definitely love my 2.5 minute songs and stuff, but I was like, I want to make an album of, more slow burners, that take longer to get going, slower tempos, build and develop more. And when I listened to the stuff that I was making over spring break, my half finished stuff now, like everything I listen to, I'm like, man, this is lethargic. It takes way too long to get going. I just see myself thinking, this song would be way better if I, took out this third verse, if I made this 8 measure break into a 4 measure break, if I turned up the tempo a little bit, if I made this a little more rock, turn up the rock a little bit. And the thing that's real inspiring about listening to a record like this, we got 9 songs. It's, let's see, 32 minutes long. Um, about all these songs just, start off with the verse, or like in one case, the refrain, right away without some kind of big old instrumental build up. And sometimes, you know, like I do that plenty of times, but I still forget about just how effective that often is to just get right there, right into the song right away without, anything, any build up. It happened once before when I get to your door, no reply. But then, there are other times when, you've got, you know, when you're Chicago and you got, Make Me Smile, and you got where it goes on and on. And yeah, it's got to be one of the greatest song intros of all time. So yeah, I gotta say, keep cranking out the hits, Tim. Nice work. And yeah, this right here is the record that we need. Okay.